Every Yeti must face the trial of the mountain, but Bob's test will prove that kindness can be stronger than strength. The dawn broke sharp and cold. The sky was pale silver and the mountains wore crowns of frost. Mist curled between the peaks like restless spirits. At the base of a towering cliff, the Yeti tribe gathered. Their fur glistened with ice crystals. Their eyes gleamed with focus. Breath steamed in the frigid air as the circle formed, silent and solemn. The elder lifted his hand. His fur was streaked with white, his voice deep as rolling thunder. Every Yeti must prove themselves, strength, patience, wisdom. This is our trial. This is our way. The young ones bounced with barely contained excitement, whispering to each other. Bob's turn. Can he do it? Maybe he'll surprise us. But the elders were less hopeful. Their brows knit, their arms folded. Some shook their heads before the trial even began. Bob was big, yes, but clumsy, strange, too soft. Bob shuffled forward, the snow crunching beneath his heavy steps. His scarf trailed behind him in the powder, red against white, a gift from the children in the valley far below. He touched it gently, as though gathering strength from the memory of their laughter, and then lifted his head. Bob, try. And so the trial began. The first challenge was set in a canyon strewn with boulders the size of carts. Sheer cliffs rose on either side, snowmelt trickling in silver streams along the stone. The task was simple: move the rocks across the gap to build a path. The first Yeti cracked his knuckles and rolled a massive boulder as though it were no heavier than a snowball. The stone thudded into place. Cheers rose. The second Yeti, tall and lean, heaved one high above her head. With a grunt, she tossed it across the gap. It landed perfectly on the other side, bridging stone to stone. The tribe erupted in applause. Then came Bob. He lumbered to the largest boulder he could find, his brow furrowed, determination tightening every muscle. He squatted low, arms straining. The boulder shuddered. It shifted. And then, slip! The rock thundered down the slope, smashing through baskets of food set aside for the feast. Snow sprayed. A goat bleated in alarm, bolting across the canyon rim. Gasps rang out. Elders scowled. One muttered under his breath, "Careless." Another shook her head. "Hopeless." Bob scratched the back of his neck. "Oops." Then he paused. His gaze shifted to a fallen tree, half buried in the snow. Slowly, awkwardly, he wedged it beneath a smaller boulder. He pressed down with his full weight, and the stone tipped, rolling gently forward. The children watching clapped and squealed. "He made a lever, like the humans do." Bob smiled, sheepish but proud, lumbering behind the gently rolling stone until it settled into place. The elders remained silent, unimpressed, but the youngest Yetis whispered among themselves, eyes wide. Different. But it works. The second trial led the Yetis up a cliffside into the teeth of an icy storm. Wind howled like a beast. Snow whipped across their fur in cutting sheets. The challenge: endure. Sit unmoving, unflinching as the storm raged. One by one, the Yetis sat cross-legged on the snowy ledge. Their eyes shut, their bodies still. They looked like statues carved from the mountain itself. Bob sat too. At first he managed well. 1 minute, 2. But then his nose twitched. His eyes watered. He fought it, cheeks puffing, until... Hacho! His sneeze exploded, sending a cloud of snow spraying like confetti across the ledge. The storm carried the powder into the air, dusting the solemn elders in white. The young Yetis giggled. The elders groaned. Bob wriggled. His legs cramped. His fur prickled with cold. He glanced sideways and noticed 3 little Yetis shivering, their teeth chattering, their small hands tucked into their fur. Bob frowned. He scooped a clump of snow and patted it into shape. Then another, and another. Soon, crooked little snowmen sat in a row, with moss for eyes and twigs for arms. He stuck one on his nose and wiggled until the children squealed with laughter. Instead of silence, there was joy. Instead of stillness, there was warmth. By the time the storm passed, the elders muttered, "He failed." But the children clung to Bob's legs, beaming. "He made us forget the cold." And perhaps, in their laughter, there was a different kind of patience. The final trial awaited. The caves. Dark, twisting tunnels wound deep beneath the mountain. The air was damp and heavy. Shadows curled along the walls. Strange sounds whispered in the dark. Each Yeti carried a glowing ball of moss to light the way. The task: find their path, emerge on the far side. The tribe entered one by one, their lights vanishing into the black. Bob lingered. Behind him, 3 small Yetis hovered at the cave mouth, fur trembling, moss clutched in shaky paws. Their eyes were wide with fear. Bob crouched down, voice low and gentle. "Scared?" They nodded. Bob thought. Then, with a careful tug, he split his moss into 4 smaller pieces, handing one glowing fragment to each of them. Together they stepped into the cave. Bob hummed softly, his deep voice echoing in the tunnels, steady and calming. The darkness pressed in. Strange noises echoed, creaks, groans, a sudden wail of wind. The little ones whimpered. Bob dropped to his knees. "Not scary," he whispered. "Just wind." He puffed his cheeks and made a silly whooshing sound. The children giggled, their fear loosening. Step by step, they moved together, their tiny lights glowing like stars. By the time they emerged on the far side, the rest of the tribe was already waiting. Elders frowned. "Last place!" But the children cheered, throwing their arms around Bob's legs. "We made it! All of us!" And Bob knew he wouldn't have chosen differently. At last, the tribe gathered once more at the base of the cliff. Silence fell. The elder studied Bob for a long, heavy moment. His gaze was sharp as stone, yet softened at the edges. Finally, he spoke. "You did not show our strength. You did not show our patience. You did not even show our wisdom." Bob's head drooped. His scarf brushed the snow. Then the elder's voice shifted, low but warm. "But you showed something more. You cared. You shared. You turned trial into joy. Perhaps that is its own strength." The tribe murmured. Some elders scowled, unwilling to bend tradition. But the youngest Yetis erupted with cheers, climbing onto Bob's arms and shoulders, chanting his name. And though doubt still lingered among the elders, a new truth whispered in the cold air. The mountain's trial had been passed. Not in the way it had ever been before, but in the way only Bob could pass it. If you believe the truest strength is kindness, stay with us. Bob's journey has only just begun.